Have you ever had someone cross your mind so unexpectedly, so vividly, that only minutes later they reached out, almost like your thought had somehow traveled straight to them? Most people brush this off as coincidence. But what if it wasn't? What if there's a real mechanism behind this? Something Neville Goddard actually pointed to. That explains how one mind can influence another without a single word being spoken. Today I want to walk you through what this actually means and how to use it in a way that's genuine, not manipulative. Neville taught that minds aren't as separate as we assume. In his teaching, all individual awareness exists within one larger consciousness, meaning that, on some level, you and the person you're thinking about are not as disconnected as it appears on the surface. This is why a strong, focused thought or feeling directed towards someone can sometimes seem to reach them, not through some external force being pushed onto them, but because your inner state, held with enough conviction, actually shapes the assumption you carry about that relationship. And that assumption is what shifts how the connection unfolds. I want to be clear about something before we go further, because this topic can easily be misunderstood. This isn't about controlling someone against their will, and it's not about forcing a specific person to become obsessed with you in an unhealthy way. What we're actually talking about is removing the resistance, the doubt, the anxious energy that's been blocking a natural mutual connection from unfolding the way it's meant to. You're not overriding someone's free will. You're clearing the inner static that's been keeping a genuine connection from reaching them clearly. So how does this actually work in practice? It starts with your own inner state, not with anything external you say or do. Most people, when they want someone to think about them, do the opposite of what actually works. They send extra texts, they check social media obsessively, they replay conversations looking for hidden meaning, they let anxiety build with every hour of silence. All of that noisy, anxious energy is the very thing that gets in the way, because it broadcasts absence, not presence. It says, I don't already have their attention, and that becomes the assumption reinforced. Instead, the real work happens quietly, internally, through what you might think of as a silent, felt message, rather than a spoken command. Sit somewhere calm, close your eyes, and picture the person clearly in your mind, not from a place of desperation, but from a place of warmth and calm certainty. Imagine them thinking of you, warmly, naturally, the way they would if the connection between you was already strong and secure. Feel it, don't just picture it. Feel the warmth of being thought of, the ease of being missed, the quiet security of already being on their mind. This is different from a command, in the aggressive sense the title might suggest. It's closer to an invitation, a feeling you send outward and then release, without gripping or forcing. Neville's whole approach depended on the feeling being real and relaxed, not tense and demanding. Hold that felt image for a few minutes. Let the warmth settle into your body, and then let it go completely, trusting that the impression has already been made, rather than needing to check your phone every 10 minutes for proof it worked. The releasing part matters just as much as the initial feeling, maybe even more. If you send that warm, imagined connection outward, and then spend the next hour anxiously waiting for a text, you've undone the entire state you just built. Anxious waiting is doubt wearing a different outfit. Real practice here means doing the inner work and then trusting it enough to actually let go and continue your day, calm and unattached to timing. I also want to address why some people report powerful results with this kind of practice, and why others feel nothing happens at all. The difference almost always comes down to the quality of the inner state, not the technique itself. If you're doing this from fear, from desperation, from a feeling of not being enough without this person's attention, the underlying energy contradicts the very outcome you're trying to create, because you're reinforcing lack even while trying to feel connection. But if you're doing this from a place of genuine warmth, security, and calm expectation, the state itself becomes magnetic. Not because you forced anything, but because you removed the resistance that was blocking a natural connection. There's also something worth understanding about consistency here. A single session of this practice can shift your own inner state temporarily, but real, lasting change comes from returning to this calm, warm, connected feeling regularly, especially in moments when doubt creeps back in. Over time, this becomes less something you do occasionally and more a natural undercurrent running beneath your daily thoughts about this person. Calm, secure, unafraid. So if there's someone you want thinking about you, someone you feel a pull toward reconnecting with on a deeper level, here's what I'd invite you to try. Instead of reaching for your phone, reach inward. Picture them clearly. Feel the warmth of already being close, already being thought of, already being missed. Hold that feeling gently for a few minutes, and then release your grip on it completely. Trust that the impression has been made. And remember, this isn't about forcing anyone's will. It's about clearing the space for a real, mutual connection to reach the surface, the way it was always meant to.